go follow Creative Harmony Podcast. We just got done filming another episode, and it's all things for all creatives everywhere. Conversations about it's been really, really incredible already. We have some sort of like organized thought and where we're headed with everything, but relationships, marriage, kids, creativity, and we're both highly creative and we're married, and so lots of things come up, and we couldn't be more real and more honest about our flaws. So it's fun. It's good times. We'd love to see you guys over there. Okay, so I'm kind of sectioning this out. Instantly hi from Poland. But thank you for doing these lives. Oh, you're so welcome. So I'm sectioning this out kind of similarly to the way that I cut the hair in the first place. Okay, so I did take this section first, and then I'm kind of just looking at it. It was cut with the razor, and then I'm going in, and the reason I don't always do this, sometimes I'm like, it's good, I like it just where it's at, but every once in a while, I use the scissors to strengthen the ends. I love what the razor does and the softness that you get. And I do like the softness at the ends at times, but sometimes I want to kind of embolden a few pieces, and I'll just go in and carve out around those areas and really strengthen the ends of the hair. All right, let's see. I'm going in with a little bit of a heavier scissor, my fancy scissors. And then I'm going to take my next section, diagonal back. Yeah, shout out Jacob Kahn. And I'm going to bring this forward and up. And I'm going to kind of hold it the way that I see that it falls and come in. Hey, you rock. You rock. What elevation do you cut the fringe at? So this was I held it up at a 45, but to texturize, I'm cutting it where it lives, is where I cut this front piece, because I really wanted to see what these little pieces, like how they function, where they land, exactly what texture they have. And then I'm holding this up and out because that way I can get my scissors in from the opposite angle. So if you guys can see that, I know my lighting isn't totally great. Okay, you can go in and kind of like almost like carve out in those areas. And sometimes I'll do it a few times just to be sure that I get the amount of separation that I want. Or you can come in from the inside, use the back part of your shear, not the tip, but the actual back part. Hi in Italy. I love texturized cuts. I wish I could get one right now. You should go get one. Go find somebody who's really good. Look at somebody's Instagram. You can tell so much by their work, but also maybe you can have a consultation with them first. So instead of pushing the hair this way, I'm letting the hair fall into the blade. So just by repositioning my hand even. So texturizing, I'm not putting the shape in, so I'm not worried about the exact cutting angle. I can twerk and tweak and manipulate my hand in different directions to get the hair to fall against the blade in the way that I want it to. So I'm kind of moving this hand as I'm actually opening and shutting my scissors to help give me that curvature that I want, because I'm trying to create like a curvature within the hair. And sometimes you have to use like the G-force or like the opposite push of the hair itself to help you, to like aid you in getting that like right angle and that right kind of carving effect, right? So like the hair's curving this way, so I'm coming opposite of that curvature, and I'm able to get a really nice arc and really great separation. And I'm actually putting the scissors on my hand right here. The base of the scissors is right there. I'm coming in, and as I'm closing my scissor, I'm rocking it backwards and kind of like almost, I'm doing it so slow because normally I go really fast, right? But I'm like using that as that curvature. This is a technique not everyone can do. Sure, which is what brings us here today. Come to, wait, down and under, please. Oh, to Australia. Would love to go to Australia. I was talking to one of my friends about it. I would love to come. It would be so amazing. All right, so kind of like doing that throughout the bang section. This would be another area where I would like entertain the idea of possibly like making this a little bit bolder, right? Because it's so beautiful, soft and feathery, and I can style it cute and all of that. But what about when she just kind of like shakes her hair out and just leaves it? Is it going to look almost like too fly away, or is it going to have these like bits and pieces that are just like obviously separating themselves out from the bunch, right? So every once in a while, that's why I would, it's not that the razor can't do it, but do you see how soft that is? There's like some very obvious like peaks and valleys in there. But if I come in with my scissor, I can kind of come back through and accentuate those peaks and valleys just to give her something that feels like the ends are really, really healthy, that it's kind of like a very like intentional look and feel without changing the haircut so much, but just kind of dialing in those areas, right? And now we have something that has a little bit more like separation, and the push and pull of those hairs is just a little bit stronger. Like I said, sometimes I'll do an entire razor cut. There is no wrong way. I'm not here to say, do it this way. I'm here to say, maybe you could think about this, right? Love the way you cut. So good. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that compliment so much. Yeah, I just kind of came off of a live, or not a live, sorry. I'm on a live right now. I came off of recording a podcast with my husband, Creative Harmony. So if you're just tuning in, I would love for you guys all to go over there. It's a very baby new project, but already I would not be this passionate about sharing it with you guys if I didn't really feel like this is important. And I actually genuinely feel like it's important. So that's why I'm sharing it. I could care less how many people see it, except for the fact that I think it's going to really help a lot of people. There's no money involved. It's just like, go watch it. So it's on YouTube right now. We're going to figure out how to get it on Spotify and all the things. Hey, you're such an inspiration. Thank you so much. I think that as artists, that's 100% like the goal in life is like to get better at your art and to share it with people who connect with it on a soul level, right? So if it feels inspiring to you, then that means I'm doing my job as far as like allowing it to connect with you on a soul level, and that's important. How's it going? And that's what I get from all of you. So thank you all for that. So I'm just kind of taking this little parting through the top of her hair in the crown area. And like I said, this has been cut. This is definitely a bit blunt for my taste. And I think I do want to change the shape just a little bit because I feel like it's this like nice little perfect concave layer, which is serving her well enough when it falls down, right? It's cut nicely. And it just needs that kind of like special sauce. I feel like texturizing is so much of that special sauce. And I don't want you guys to I have to change my angle so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. There we go. Change her angle. But yes, texturizing is like something that you're giving your client that they feel so seen and they feel so like this is an individualized experience for them. I do feel like this ring is a little bit intense for the hair that's supposed to be giving me tension, because tension is important even when you're texturizing. But I'm going to bring her fringe up, and I can just use this little bitty fringe here as a kind of a little bit, not a guide that I'm going to take off like all of that length, but a guide that I'm kind of going to use visually to just tell me where I'm headed. Like this, if I go any shorter than this fringe, it's going to look too short for my opinion, right? So I'm going to hold this all the way up, let that fall out, come from behind, and kind of just carve out and forward as I like let this fall away and let it kind of connect to those hairs in the front. And I'm just going to keep doing that. And again, this is just in that top kind of layer. And then this is just going to set a new guide for me as I connect the rest of the side layers to this new kind of layer that I've created, right? Because obviously I'm taking it shorter. This is not just texturizing and adding texture. This, she's got issues. Her hair is a little damaged. It just stands straight up. Or dirty. It's probably just dirty. But a little bit of disconnection can be okay when you're creating like a shag or a mullet or something to that effect. Like sometimes you want a little bit of disconnection if they want to have like lots of thicker hair there. But I'm going to go in. Is it on Spotify? So the podcast is called Creative Harmony, and it's not on Spotify yet. We're working on it. Right now it's just on YouTube, but the link is in the bio of the brand spanking new little Instagram called Creative Harmony Podcast. Like I said, there's nothing in it for us. It's all for you guys. So your like interaction with it is the motivation to do it. So please go say hey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just pivot, taking sections like this around the head, and I'm going to over direct them forward, because in a shag you typically want kind of a rounder shape where everything is a little bit, hi, I see you. Aw, hola desde España. Hello. I want to go to Spain again. Let me show you the cutting angle at which I'm kind of holding this hair. So I'm bringing it forward, and my fingertips are kind of pointed in towards me a little bit. I want to maintain length here. And then I'm going to go past kind of where, there's a million ways to texturize, guys. I'm just showing you this one mostly. And I'm going to keep the length there, right? And I'm making my wrist look crazy right now because I'm trying to just show you the hair. I would just stand in front for this. It'd be a little bit easier. And I'm just kind of going in, but then connecting it to those shorter pieces that I just created. So the whole point of that was to create these kind of like separations in the hair, but also, right? So now we have all that separation. If you want to, you can go in, strengthen it again with point cutting. Point cutting, unless you really spread it out and really just point cut at a 90, is if you utilize it, depending on the angle you go in with your shear, you're either going to remove weight or a little bit of length. And I angle my shear so much that I'm kind of like creating bigger pockets within the hair to just emphasize what we already did and connect it through to that little shorter layer. Hi from Germany. Hi. Will we be able to rewatch this live? Sure. Can you link your podcast on your profile? I can't find it. The very last post that we just did, I did a collaboration with Julian and the podcast. So if you go to, it's called Creative Harmony Podcast, and if you go to the very last post that we just did, it is on there. Very cool. Adorable. Will you say, yes, I'll try to save this live. I'll try to save it for you guys. So kind of coming through this area again, I already have this new guide up top, kind of just bringing it forward. I'm letting my hands go past where I'm going to like eventually have the lengths. And I'm looking at the interior layers as like almost like connecting to this shorter bit, but keeping the length that I already established in the ends so that I'm not creating brand new lengths. I'm literally just adding texture, but also creating a certain amount of connectivity to those shorter bits, right? And she wears her hair forward, and because I told her to, and it's cut round, right? So she kind of like wears her hair forward, and it's cut short to long around. And I'm just going to do the very last section. I'm going to part it in the middle, and this will be a little bit of a bigger section just because I know there will be less hair to cut because I'm over directing it all of the way forward, right? So I'll run out of hair. Yeah, you do art. Oh, thank you. You do art. I think everybody has something that their soul was meant to say. And whether that's through photography, through hair, through music, through whatever it is, I think that it's important to express yourself, your vision, the way that you perceive the world around you, and beauty and all of it, right? So I think that we're all artists in a way. Cool. So that was just a little bit of hair left to cut on that side. But you can kind of already see like the difference truly that like the shape has from this side to this side without any manipulation of the side, right? So you can already see that this is laying a little bit more just like there's layers in there, but by us kind of coming in and carving out those moments and having those shorter bits connect to these short bits through the top. So this short bit through the top connected in all of the shorter parts, but we still kept our length. We created 2 different lengths in the hair. One that's gonna hug the head and one that's gonna add length and texture through here. So texturizing doesn't have to be just like going at it. You can be very mindful about it. You can create shapes within shapes and get really meta with it. And we're all having a good time. I'm scrolling up to see your comments. Cool, so good to see you guys. Hi from Poland. Did you already create the shape by putting in the line in the layer earlier? Yes. And we are removing weight and putting shape in at the exact same time. So it's nice and airy. She has those like pockets of separation, but we also created a brand new shape here for her, right? Like this little boop, boop. The little mushroom look that's so popular right now, right? But I didn't take away from the shape and the ends that I already created, because sometimes in the texturizing of the ends, not all the time, so like I said, you have to think outside of the box always. But for her in particular, I think she has a really strong shape down here and I like it, right? So if I go in and I kind of shatter this away, I feel like I would lose something in this particular style. But because it just fell really, look at that, right? She has all the shape and the ends that I like, but nothing, like they needed to have more here and a little bit more here through the top, right? Cool. Do the carving in slow motion again. Okay, you got it. This is amazing. I'm not a hairdresser, but I've been such a big fan of your stuff. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't know. I started out as not a hairdresser too. You know? So I created kind of the shape through the top. Let me see what angle for this side would be best for you guys. I'll kind of just show you one more time. So I'm bringing this all forward, right? And here my fingertips are gonna be like this. Here they were down, right, the other direction. But now I'm kind of coming in this way. And I'm going to push the hair away from me. I'm going in with the bottom part of my shears, creating separation that connects to this small piece right here. This guide that I created here is where I'm gonna start the separation here, opening and closing my shears. So that way I kind of am like scooping out that like separation, but I'm keeping most of the lengths of the hair, right? And then you can do that however many times you see fit to kind of give you that inside and outside effect where you're creating a line on the inside and then a line on the outside. That was just to kind of show you a couple times in slow motion. So, but there's so many different ways to texturize. We could go through a million. If you're truly trying to just remove weight, I'll just give you a few little tips right now. You go in at the shape, usually taking a horizontal section, either following the same way that you did the haircut or to cross-check the haircut. So if you're cross-checking the haircut, you're looking for the shape that you built in, as well as kind of, do you need to take out weight, length and weight, right? So if I bring this straight out to the elevation that I had, I can kind of separate it in my knuckles to remove some weight and going in at a 90 if I wanted to remove length. So see, by me just going like this, holding the hair here, let me see if I can give you a better visual. I dropped my comb. So if I go in and it's like too clumped together, I'm gonna remove length inevitably. But if I separate the hair out like this in my fingers, and I get as much separation as I possibly can, I can more easily just remove weight without removing any length, right? It's a minimal weight removal. So minimal would just be point cutting with the most separation going in at a 90. Maximum would be coming in at any other angle because you're, boom, removing all that length, right? You removed length and weight. Or if you're carving and you're coming in and you're slide cutting, which means a slower open to close, and you're slide cutting, you can really control that angle as well. Are you going in at a 90, removing more weight, or at a 45 and pushing more and removing more length and weight, creating greater separation in the hair? And there's so many ways to do that. I mean, even that crown trick where you grab like a little section, twisting the hair, which means you're going to get an irregular, like shorts and longs all within the same tiny little section, and just kind of creating like notches in the hair all the way up, which seems crazy. Or you can even slide cut it. It seems crazy, but then when you slide cut it and then you open that hair up, you know what I mean? You've got like a lot of irregularity. If I open that section up for you, it just looks like shorts and longs all over the place and you don't see where it's coming from. But the purpose of that specific technique, if you think about it, is that when you tease the hair, right, you've got all that shortness and those lengths right there, and it's just giving you crown lift without any really like short pieces sticking out, right?